can do next.
Hello everybody, it is me, Jenna, as you can see. I just wanted to be able to make this video and let you guys know that I wanted to let you guys understand why we are making these videos and you know, just to get a sense of who we are, get a sense of our backgrounds, Bill's background and my background. My background as far as, you know, before I met him and when I was with my ex-husband. Just to explain to you a little more about why we started and who we are and all that goodness. Because the other day, unexpectedly, I don't know if you watched that video, but we unexpectedly had a date night because the kids, well, we found the babysitter for Aiden, and then, you know, unexpectedly Walker wanted to stay at the babysitter's because he wanted to just play with the kids. So we went on a date night for ourselves for a few hours. And while we were at Main Event is where we went to, some guy had what, you know, we paid for our drinks, we paid for our meal, all that fun stuff. We ended up shooting pool, which was fun. Bill beat me, but he tells me poorly. But the guy that was bringing our food noticed that the camera was sitting on the table and I was shooting us playing pool, and that part of the video was kind of boring, so it's probably why I didn't put it in the last video that I edited. But he had started to ask me questions like, well, his first one was, "Are you making a vlog?" And I said yes. And then he said, you know, "What's it about?" And I told him, and he wanted to know the name, and I told him. And then he's like, "Why should I watch your blog over anybody else's blog?" So those are some of the reasons why I wanted to make a video tonight. I'm sorry for, you know, I don't have any makeup on normally, and it's the end of the day. I plan to do this in the morning, but my mornings are usually hectic. I'm trying to, you know, get Walker off to school, and then by the time I get home, I have to put Aiden down, and, you know, your day just starts that way. So, you know, I did make some bullet points so that I wouldn't get off track, because I don't like getting off track. So, you know, when everybody says they make blogs, you know, they say that they want to be able to do this or do that, you know. And there are some people out there that say they just want to make money. Well, you know, not a lot of times, you know, are there people that watch videos because the reason of their, you know, when somebody says, "I want to make money," they're not going to watch the videos. We make our videos because we love to capture family moments, family memories, just everything we can about our kids, because I also feel like every time I make you know, I take a picture, or I have a little video and I send it to my parents, or I send it to Bill, or I send it to anybody, and it's as a text message, email, whatever, I feel like it gets lost in the videos of nothingness. I don't know if anybody feels the same way about that, but, you know, I want to be able to capture all of my kids' moments, because I didn't really get that opportunity when Walker was born, because when he was born, my life wasn't the best life. And, you know, I don't know if it's me being a mom that I might get emotional when I talk about this part, but, you know, every mom is going to be emotional about their kids. You know, what mom isn't? Plus, the videos also keep me less stressed out. It gives me something to do during the day. You know, Bill's almost away, I wouldn't say 24/7, but he staffs twice a week at fire station, and then he works his full-time IT job during the day, and then he has an IT job that he works here at the house. So it almost seems like, you know, he comes and goes, which I know that's, you know, he's listening to me right now, so I'm hoping that he doesn't think that way. But that's just what it seems like for me. So it keeps me less stressed out, keeps me less, you know, depressed, and just lets me have fun with my kids, you know. So, you know, the next thing I wanted to say was, it de-stresses me. I love editing videos. I love going back to the points where I like to watch things over and just crack up laughing. I mean, Bill will sit there on the other side, on our comfy chairs, as you can tell. Whether we fall asleep in our chairs or not, during what we are trying to do, you know, during the time that we're working, me editing videos, him doing his code or working on whatever, playing his games on his computer. He's a gamer, so he loves gaming, just to let you know. You know, we just love spending that time together. It de-stresses me. I'll sit here and laugh about what we did that day, and it's all around, for me it's all around like a feel good, so I can go to bed knowing I was somewhat productive if I didn't get my house clean or if I didn't do something around the house that day. I wanted to explain to you the whole thing when I said, you know, about Walker not being able to capture a lot of moments back then and having almost all those videos gone at this point, because, you know, those go into your phone, those go into your computer, so sometimes you never know where those go after a while. They're probably in my computer. I'm sure Bill can find them since he's all IT. But when I was in my late 20s, mid to late 20s, I found what I thought was the one back then, and his name was Justin Stagner, and we ended up dating for a few months, and then we ended up, you know, we were one of those couples that we just felt like this was the person that we were supposed to be with, so we got married after, I don't know, a month, maybe 2 months, and we did it, if you ask me, we did it the redneck way. We went to the Justice of the Peace and signed the paper and did it that way. But then obviously, I don't know, a year, maybe 2 years later or something like that, we did the whole big white wedding and things like that. So, you know, but regardless of big white wedding and all that, you know, living with him was a challenge. Even when we were dating, even when we had first gotten married, you know, paper-wise, the Justice of the Peace-wise, and even when we were, you know, the big white wedding, it was a challenge for me. And I'm the type of person that I get overwhelmed really easily, and it just, you know, there were times where we would get in fights more often than we would feel like I would feel loved by him, honestly. And, you know, that kind of continued. I mean, we had fun with our friends. We did, you know, the things that you do back then when you're, I don't know, young and stupid, maybe. You know, we drank, we smoked, we did stupid things. We hung around with friends that weren't very Christian-like, and you know, just did that kind of life, you know. And I'm guessing that all of that kind of sucked me down. You know, you lie down with dogs, you get up with fleas. But in that instance, you know, we had fun. We kept having fun, but then our fights and our arguments were more frequent. They were more loudmouth, if you ask me. And then where, you know, his opinion mattered more than mine. And not to mention, all of this was, you know, we both were living in a fifth wheel, a trailer, an RV, if you will. So, you know, it was one of those toy haulers. You have your master bedroom in the front of it, you know, and then you have your bathroom, and then you have your kitchenette. Then you have, you know, in the back you have these two fold-down beds. You know, and then just being in that trailer, you really have to love somebody when you live with them in an RV or a tiny house, or at that point it was a tiny house for all of us because we had a dog and it was just the two of us. You know, and we kept saying future-wise we wanted a child, but I don't think we really planned that part out specifically. I guess it just happened when it happened. So as time went on, we got, you know, the whole white wedding, we got married. We thought that we were still good for each other, you know, and then we started having more fights and more arguments about just, you know, random things sometimes. It just got to the point where, you know, I was almost calling my mom every day and crying. And then one day, you know, it always happens this way. One day on this drunken night, you get pregnant. And we got pregnant with Walker, my first child. And now he's 5. But I got pregnant with Walker, did the whole 9 months, you know. Even in those 9 months, we were arguing and stuff like that. And after we had Walker, you know, things were okay, I guess. I wouldn't say shoot the moon, you know, over the moon, kind of, you know, great. But they were okay. You know, we still experienced our arguments, but you know what marriage doesn't, but you know, ours just kind of escalated all the time. And so after he was born, we just never, he and I don't think ever saw the same values in what we were trying to raise him like. I wanted to be, you know, I didn't want, you know, my child to cuss. I didn't want him doing this and that and this and that. And Justin was one of those people that he didn't care. You know, he would rather just do what he wanted to do, and you couldn't really even tell him any different. I just remember a time where we went to some kind of, I think it was a family reunion. No, it was supposed to have been Mother's Day, and it was actually the worst Mother's Day I've ever had. And we went to, as kind of a family, I want to say it was kind of a family reunion, because my brothers and their families and their kids were there too. So we went to the Great Wolf Lodge in Dallas, and we had some fun times there. My brother had a graduation, and we went to the Great Wolf Lodge. After that, you know, we all checked in, got to what we wanted to do. You know, tried to walk around with Walker everywhere, you know, just to make things fun and stuff. And still more arguments, and I would end up leaving Justin in the room by himself and going to my parents' room, because he didn't want to do anything with my family. He didn't want to do anything with my family, period. Didn't want to have anything to do with him at all. And I got mad. So And then he would also accuse me of different things, and never really treated that weekend as a Mother's Day. He treated it as, hell, I want to do what I want to do. With all the arguments, with all the fights, with all the stuff that was going on the way home, because he rode back with my dad, because Justin had to go back to work and my dad had to go back to work, and then I rode back with my mom because she wanted to visit my grandma's grave, and so I rode back with my mom, and once we did the whole visit the grave and then get in the car and go home, that whole way home from the grave till she dropped me off at the house, or at our mobile home at this point, was I kept asking her, Mom, when do you say that enough is enough? When do you say I want to break up? Or when do you say this and that and this and that? And she really, her answer was, I really don't know, and I can't tell you. That's something that you would have to decide for yourself. Time goes on. Things got progressively worse. So fast forward to the future. So bad, in fact, that he would have taken beer bottles and thrown them at me. But he would get right up in my face, put his finger right here in my face, and just lay into me as far as, accusing me of things. And I would try to run away as far as putting myself in a bedroom and getting away from all the madness. And trying to lock the door, and he would just pry it open and pull the sheets off of my head and tell me, no, you're going to talk to me. We're going to work this out. And all the time that we're arguing, but Walker is in his bedroom, and he's hearing all this, and I'm thinking, this can't be right. This cannot be what God wanted for me. I'm enduring all of this, being yelled at and all this stuff, and this cannot be what God wanted for me. I mean, we got to the point where he didn't care. We would argue over something simple, and he just thought he was always right, and I was always wrong. Down the line, we decided, this was further down the line that we decided, okay, I told him, I said, enough is enough. We went through the breakup, I went back, we had more arguments, I called my parents and I said, this is it, this is enough. I'm not living here anymore. I'm not doing it. Because I'm not putting my child through all of this mess. And what Mom would. Which, broke my heart, because that was supposed to have been the person that I was supposed to have spent the rest of my life with, which that didn't end up the way that it should have. But, God does certain things for a reason. So, it was a big, long, messy divorce. Things happened. Once that ended, I started living with my parents again. Obviously, Walker had to live with me. I had to find a job, something steady enough that Walker and I could, earn some money to help out my mom, whether she needed help buying diapers. While the divorce was going on and while this was all happening, I ended up finding a job at a place called Altered State. And in Altered State, if nobody knows what that is, it's actually a retail shop that sells, funny enough, it sells really expensive clothes, but they're really good quality. So I got a job there, and during the whole divorce, God said, this is where you need to be, because these ladies are going to help you get through this. And they did. I would go to work and I would cry over the divorce. I would get really emotional some days. And my boss told me one good tip that I don't think I'll ever forget. She told me that I'm not going to hug you and I'm not going to console you right now or any time during while we're here at work, because you're just going to cry and then it's going to make you want to go home, and you're going to think about this when you go home. So anybody going through hard times through divorce, anybody that's going through hard times with a breakup, it's not the end. It's not. It's really not. And I thought it was at the time, but it's not. Because God will put something in your path that'll help you get through it. As time went on after that, I started dating again. I started the whole, my mom didn't like it, but I went through the whole online dating. She didn't like that I was spending my money on, monthly fees for dating, a dating website. And I did more than one. But eventually, I found the one. And say hi, Bill.
Hello.
No, you need to show your face.
Hello.
He makes me laugh, and he makes me cry, and he makes me he makes me have fun. But I met him on Plenty of Fish. It just came at the right moment. We met, and my mom did the whole thing. She's like, I don't like you dating online because I don't know who you're dating. And so when I found him and I wanted to date him, I didn't tell her what day we were going to go on a date because I didn't want her doing the whole 20 questions. But she did say that she wanted a picture, a phone number, and what else?
My address.
His address, anything that she could get her hands onto. So, like, if I disappeared, she could find, she could track him down. Crazily enough, that first date of ours, we went to an Italian ice cream shop called Rita's. It's not there anymore. But we went to an Italian ice cream shop called Rita's, and Walker went with us. And then we went to the park, and we just spent hours and hours and hours. Mind you, it was hot. We were sweating to death. And the other funny thing is that this was I think this was the day after, one of the days after Bill had his LASIK surgery. So he was sweating to death, plus putting eye drops in his eyes the whole time. But, he played around with Walker, they played on the swing set. I brought Walker's little push-along bike at the time when he was that age. And they just had a ball. We just had a ball. We talked for hours. And then it was really sad to see Bill leave for the night because Bill said he had some wedding to go to, and he said it would have been really weird if he would have taken me because I think, what did you say? Something about they would have, what did you say?
It's weird taking somebody that you just started dating to a wedding.
Time went on, and things progressively improved more, and we became more than just two people that wanted to be with each other. And that was the good news. And then, Walker loved him. Walker would, at the time, Walker would call him Daddy Bill, because, didn't want him calling Daddy just yet. We weren't there just yet. But in the meantime of dating, Walker was, I don't know, at this time what happened, I don't know if Walker was almost getting ready to turn 2. But I think that that's what the age was of him. And my friend calls me up and says, Jenna, don't come over to the RV park. Don't come over to the RV park. Just don't. And I'm like, oh my God, Justin got in trouble with the law. That was my first thought. That was my first, oh my God moment, you know. And I said, why? He said, just don't. And so I hung up, and I knew that Bill was coming home that night, because obviously he works at the fire station, so there's nights where he couldn't come home. Or actually he came home, but he was supposed to go to the fire station that night. And so I called him and I said, you need to get home right now, because I was freaked out. I was freaked out by what I was going to hear. And so Bill got home and he says, what's wrong? And I told him, I said, Joel called me and he said, don't come over to the RV park whatsoever. And, you know, I was still freaked out. You know, like, Bill was trying to calm me down, you know. Luckily, I think Walker was upstairs playing with his toys. And the next call that we got was that Joel said that Justin had committed suicide. And my heart sank. My heart sunk so far down that I didn't know what to say, I didn't know what to do. So the first thing I thought to do was, I cried, obviously. Because I knew that Walker wouldn't have his daddy to look forward to every day. Because how selfish is it to commit suicide? I mean, you've really got to be in a deep place to do that. I don't judge people who do that, but that's just one of those most selfish things you can do for your own life. And, you know, I went around the house and called my dad, called my mom, because they didn't live too far away from us at the time. And, you know, I just felt like all this was my fault. The way that I treated him in the past was all my fault. Didn't give him enough chances to be a dad. Didn't do what I needed to do to keep our family together. So I thought it was all my fault. And my dad and my mom and even Bill were saying, it's not your fault. It's something that he couldn't deal with for himself, so he decided to make the choice that he did. It took me, over a good 2 weeks to really process what happened, I guess. Because you don't know what to do in a situation like that. Your mind goes blank. I mean, what would you do? And so from then on, we just worked. So after the news, Bill stayed home that night instead of going to the station. Everybody consoled me for about, a good 2 weeks. And even, I know this sounds really weird, but we lived in a condo that my parents had bought for me so that I could pay rent and stay there with Walker by myself, so I wouldn't be living with my parents. And even after he had passed away and they had a little, whatever they had for him, and it just felt like his presence was in the house for a while until we moved into the house we're at now. But time went on, time got better, we did our daily lives. I had help from friends, I had help from Bill, from my parents, from anybody who wanted to just sit down and talk with me. But as time went on, you know, things got even better. I think it was that Christmas or the following Christmas or something like that where, you know, at first Bill had come home one day and I was cooking dinner. I made a really good dinner that night. Something with maple syrup and chicken and sweet potato. It was really, really good. And he comes home and he has a ring in his hand, and I'm going, oh my God, he's gonna propose. And he didn't propose. He gave me a promise ring, which I thought was very, you know, me and my sentimental self now, I cry at everything. I cry at Mr. Peabody and Sherman. So, and then he was telling me something about one day, you know, I want to give you the real thing, and da 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 da. You know, I think we knew when we first got together that we just we wanted to be pregnant. So funny thing is that when we first got together, we actually started trying then, trying to get pregnant, which, you know, at the time I think God was telling us not now. So I guess that following next Christmas or something like that, we went to my mom's house, I guess later that evening. And, you know, I'm sitting there playing a game with my family, my brothers and my sister-in-law. I think it was my sister-in-law and their kids and my mom. And he writes a little message on this little kid etch-a-sketch type thing. And it says, will you marry me? And he drew this picture of a ring. I wish I would have taken a picture of that, because it would have been so cool.
I have it somewhere.
He has it somewhere, so I'm probably going to find it somewhere. He could probably post it somewhere. But you know, he told Walker, he said, here Walker, go give this to your mama. And so Walker gave it to me, and I looked at it, and I thought he was joking, honestly. You know, sometimes with men, you just don't know. So he proposed to me. He didn't get down on one knee. Sorry, girls. But, you know, I think the way that he did it with the whole Etch-a-Sketch thing was super, super sweet. Like, that's something that I'll never forget. And, you know, just life has been better since all the turmoil in the past. Since then, we've been married for 2-3 years. And here I'm asking him, right? In our videos, I mean, as you can see, in our other videos, we have Aiden, which he is now 15 months, and the way that we found out we were pregnant with him, we had moved into this house in October of 2016, and that's when I found out I was pregnant with Aiden. That whole pregnancy was quite fun. I was actually sick through the entire thing, just nauseous, just didn't feel good. We've had him, and it's just been a joyride since I met Bill. And I'm glad that, you know, where we're at now, I think that we can only grow more from here. In the essence, not the essence, but in the subject of growing as a family, we also want to take you on a pregnancy journey. You know, it wasn't easy for me to get pregnant with Aiden. It took us about a year to get pregnant with Aiden, and I'm still, and there's days where, I really don't do this anymore, and there's days where I get depressed because I'm not pregnant. And I know there's ladies out there that have a lot, you know, tougher time than I do. My mom will say, you know, there's ladies out there that can't have babies, period, and then they go adopt. Or they can't even adopt, and they're stuck with just, you know, them two, the husband and wife. And I understand that, but wholeheartedly understand that, but when you know you can get pregnant, but it takes you almost forever to get pregnant, it's a whirlwind of emotions. Plus, you know, Aiden's the age that he is, and I was actually hoping to get pregnant sooner because I told Bill, I said I'd rather get pregnant sooner rather than later because I don't want to be able to, I want to be able to play with my kids. I don't want to just be sitting on the sidelines and say, oh, I can't play with you because I'm too tired or something. So that's why I've been more emotional this time around, I think. I mean, I was emotional last time, but I had a lot more things going on. Had a couple jobs I was working. We were living in a smaller house at the time, so I think that was kind of a distraction. Bill's schedule maybe was kind of a distraction as well. I don't know, there was a lot of other things I think that were going on that kind of made it easier. But since this time has proved to be a little harder, plus now I'm going through some health issues that I myself am kind of scared about, but I can't let fear, control me with all those, and I've got a great support system over there. And my mom and my dad and my brothers and so on. But anyway, so we just wanted to share our stories with you, or my stories so far with you, about, the back part of my life and meeting Bill and trying to take you guys on a pregnancy journey. We hope that you enjoy these videos. We hope that you take the time to watch them, time to comment, time to subscribe. Click the bell icon below to get notified as we post more videos. Just to give you guys something real, something fun to watch. We hope we're funny most of the time, but we hope that you enjoy what you see.